Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our latest and very special episode of Quickbooks Labs. Quickbooks Labs, a fortnightly vodcast designed to be the place to learn all about the world of QuickBooks and other accounting software. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron Patrick, a chartered accountant and owner of an accounting firm called Boffix, a QuickBooks Certified UK trainer, and also that QuickBooks chap on YouTube. And joining me is my co-host, the one and only Ash. How's it going, Ash?
Great, thanks, Aaron. Yeah, thanks. So I'm Ash, experienced bookkeeper / accountant / developer. I've been helping Intuit train accountants, small businesses since 2014. So back over to you, Aaron.
Excellent. Okay, so fantastic. How does this work? I hear you all ask. Well, first and foremost, we are live to the nation at today, our regular time of 4 p.m. on a Tuesday, as I said before, on a fortnightly schedule. So if you listen to this back at the time, at a later date, then why not think about joining us live, where you get to be involved with the show and ask any questions you may have regarding QuickBooks itself. We've already got people in the chat room as well. We've got Ricky and we've got Leanne, so nice to see you both here. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be bringing them in towards the end of the session, where we're going to talk about some of their burning questions. Furthermore, we are now live on all of the podcasts and services around the world. So if you feel like you want to listen to us while out and about, then feel free to subscribe as well. Ash, what's the agenda for today's show?
So, Aaron, I've got a little bit of news from you, which you have kept secret from me, so I've no idea what you're about to tell me. And then we've got a guest on, we've got Alistair Wallace from Smart Debtor Software, so we'll be talking about smart debtor management.
Excellent. So shall we jump straight into the news then? I'm just stalling here as I try and find the right button. In fact, let's press this button and we'll get it on. All right, so there's a bit of a tease on this one. Now, the reason we've done a bit of a tease on this is because this bit of news has literally only just come in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to test Ash on his knowledge here of what he can see in front of him. So first of all, Ash, what would you say is in front of you now?
Well, I would say the word everything branded USA might be a little bit of a giveaway. So I can see the word USA and I can see some dollar signs on there. So I've got a sneaking suspicion there's something that's happened on a US version of QuickBooks, which is not quite available to us, but hopefully be with us soon.
Yeah, it gives us a good indication, doesn't it, Ash? It gives us a little insight as to what might be happening later down the line. And again, I'm going to test his knowledge one more time, but what looks a bit different in the tool section that we don't normally get?
Oh, well, that looks a little bit longer than normal. So we've got ordering checks in there. So I know the US licenses still print their checks out. And looking up there, we've got backup company. Backup company, I've not spotted that before. And the case center. And managed workflows at the top. Or is that still part of our new feature that we've got? Or is that something slightly different?
No, managed workflows is definitely a newbie, but it's been there. I want to say it's been there for a good couple of months now. And basically, managed workflows is a bit like Zapier, where the idea then is if something happens in QuickBooks, it will then trigger something to happen. And it's only in their advanced version, but there's something new here. And I did it on purpose to kind of trick you out. But there's something new here that doesn't normally appear for the user.
Right, yes, you did. So is this now going to be available to the end user as well as the accountant?
It looks that way. Well, it's just odd how it suddenly appeared with no confirmation, no anything of any note of what it is. But suddenly it's within the user section. Now, I am logged in as an accountant, but I have also looked in as a user as well, just to check this. And Reclassified Transactions is now appearing there as one of our ways of looking at it. So that's really strange, isn't it? It just doesn't seem right in some ways that it's actually there.
Yeah, but it's going to be pretty useful to those that are working with as maybe the accountant in industry as opposed to the accountant doing the audit or the year-end stuff, because sometimes they're doing their monthly or quarterly reports and then they realise they've made all those errors. So if they are able to go and make some quick changes themselves, then that's going to be a great sort of addition to them.
Yeah, definitely. So for anyone out there who's never used Reclassified Transactions, it's a really great feature that me and Ash absolutely adore. It's one of those where being able to use the accountant's version of QuickBooks is something we use on a regular basis, isn't it, Ash?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, it's a great little tool. And the whole point of it is about en masse being able to clean things up. So it looks a bit daunting from this screen here, but it's really straightforward. All we got to do is find transactions that relate to it. So if I just put a real long date range in here, just so we've got some transactions coming through. And then all we need to do at that point is we literally find a transaction. And a little bit like when we have batch actions within our banking, we literally tick on the item, press reclassify, and then we get to quickly classify one of these items. So we can either quickly change the account to the category or quickly change the class. And in the UK version, remember on this one, just to show we're on the US version, on the UK version, we even get to change the VAT en masse, and we also get to change locations en masse as well. So it's a fantastic tool to quickly be able to look through some data, find some possible issues with the data, and quickly get it changed just like that. What do you think, Ash?
I think it's fantastic if the end user is going to be able to use that as well. It will save them a massive amount of time. And also, you mentioned there about having that option of quickly changing stuff. But what I used to do when I was regularly preparing accounts, I would use this also as my sort of one of my first points of call as to doing a review. So we've got other review tools available to us now as well, but you could just go in there and choose what profit and loss, your balance sheet, and then work through those categories and see what's in there just from that list.
Definitely. And I'm glad it's coming to the end user. I think you're right. I think it's going to, for the review section, everything else, I think it's going to be quite useful for them. It's just a shame that we lose our tool of exclusivity, isn't it? You know, we've always been able to say, we'll quickly do something for you.
I guess there's a little bit of that, but also on the flip side, if I'm still helping a lot of clients, they would probably come to me and sort of say, "Oh, Ash, I've made this mistake," and I'd say, "Okay, I can go in there and do that." Well, actually, now I would say, "Okay, I'm going to show you how you can change your mistakes fairly quickly." And now, once they've been shown, they'll be able to go and change it themselves. So I think it'll, in the long run, it might actually save the accountants some, tidying up themselves.
Yeah, and it's also quite useful because that's one of the things that if you get invited as just as typical user for accounts, say they've already used their 2 accountancy slots for whatever reason, and you get invited as just a typical user, as an accountant, it can be quite frustrating then not being able to have this tool to be able to do whatever you're asked to do, come in and do a quick cleanup or whatever it's going to be. Yeah. So that can be quite a nice little feature for us, couldn't it? That we can kind of utilize some more tools if we are in that situation for whatever reason.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. Because even though I'm not really or do much accounting for people anymore, I still do have some the odd bit of support work. But I always, basically insist that they invite me as an accountant, that I can use this tool. But if we're going to get it anyway, I wouldn't need it.
That'd be brilliant. We can't give you any time frames, and we don't even know if this is ever coming to the UK product. But it is a good indication. Normally what happens in the USA product does find its way to us at some point. While we're here, though, just before we bring on the guest, just so you've seen it, Ash, this is the workflow area. And again, this is only in the advanced version of QuickBooks at this point in time. But the idea is that you create a workflow, and then you will be able to say like an invoice approval situation or whatever it's going to be. And then as soon as you trigger that whatever you put as your trigger point, it will then do something outside. So in this case, it's automatically create a task and send a notification when a new invoice needs approval, that sort of idea. And that's what workflow is. One thing that I've noticed on this, though, it's not really been updated. It's very much exactly the same as it always has been. So we'll wait and see if it comes to UK, and if it does, we'll definitely play with it a little bit further and try and find some uses for it.
Okay, so when you say QuickBooks Advanced, do you mean the version above Plus? So in
America they have a different tier system, and over there they've got that advanced tier. So it's about trying to encourage, I think, that advanced tier, and trying or give something in that advanced tier that makes it worthwhile. And workflows is one of them. If you remember when we talked about Performance Center last 2 weeks when we were on, we mentioned how the Performance Center is actually something that's in the advanced version of QuickBooks in America, and we were quite surprised to have it appear in our version, because Performance Center here, look, is the bit that you pay for if you have the advanced version of QuickBooks.
Yeah, I see, that makes sense. Just out of interest, I don't know whether you can answer this one or not, just sprung into my mind. Within that workflow, is there the availability to produce, let's say, not a purchase order, but maybe I put a supplier's bill on there and then request for someone to approve when it's available to be paid?
Great idea. And that is one of the things where Xero has that little advantage, doesn't it? They have the approval system built straight in. But no, it was one of the things I was looking for, and there is no approval for the. I mean, they don't call it bill, or they do call it bills, but they class it as vendors, don't they?
Yeah.
So I've not seen anything, but there is apparently the ability to make your own workflows later down the line. So maybe that's something that will come in later down the line. But you're right, that is one thing that has always been missing, kind of that approval process of marking a bill as payable and then getting it paid from someone else.
Yeah, no, the only reason it just sprung to mind because I just saw their invoice approval. So obviously there's a bit of a step there for just making sure your customer invoices, you're happy for those to be released. But okay, the supplier one, just one to add to the list at some point.
Especially if they come back with that bit that they tease us about at Connect 2019, wasn't it, where they teased us about the ability to make payments from QuickBooks. Having that approval solution would be absolutely ideal, wouldn't it? It would just help that audit trail one more time, just to go, here was the approval, here's the payment, there's your audit trail. So yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, that'll come in the future.
Okay, yeah, excellent. Oh, nice one. Cheers, Aaron.
Cool, brilliant. All right, with that then, over to you then. Who's our guest for today?
Well, Aaron, I'd like to introduce Alistair Wallace from Pate Software, who's going to talk to us all about the smart debtor management. So,
brilliant. Let's bring him in.
Good afternoon, gents.
Hello.
Hi, Alistair.
Okay, so will I just give a little bit of background about Pate Software myself?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, yeah, so thanks for joining us. Just before we go into your software, just a little bit of background on you, and then we'll jump into your software.
Background on me, I have been involved in many different industries in my 25 to 30-year career. I've been involved in marketing, printing, street furniture, and now in software. I am based in Ireland and look after the Irish and UK market in most businesses I've been operating in. And in April of this year, I have got involved with Pate Software, who've been going for about 8 years in Holland. And I'm about to make an investment, and I'm looking after the Irish and the UK market. And that really brings me right up to date.
Excellent. Okay, so let's just jump in and tell us all you can about Pate Software, and me and Aaron will jump in with any questions as you do.
Okie dokie. Right, well, the first thing is, thank you for mentioning that it is smart debtor management software as opposed to debt collection. We were speaking beforehand, and the last thing we are debt collectors. We're not, as a smart debtor management software, we're not either about just chasing payments. We're beyond all of that. Really, what we're trying to do, in a nutshell, is we're trying to get an invoice paid as close to the invoice date, a due date, as possible. That's really what we're about. We're about the totality of sending invoices, sending reminders, affording payment options, but overlaid on that, we have good communication and we've absolutely massive flexibility, which I'm going to demonstrate in a minute. So I like to think of us as we're automation fused with intelligent human control, because really what one has to be about now, we were talking beforehand about how everything has the pace is up about everything. It is all about automation, and anything that can be automated should be automated. And when you're into collecting money, cash flow is king. It's always been king, and even now in COVID-19 and the rest, it is even going to be more king. So the closer you are to making sure that you're optimizing your cash flow, the better that you're going to be. And because we have lots of software tools, everybody is scaling, so automation really has to kick in, or else you'll be working 24 hours out of 7. So what I'm going to take you through is how we have an API integration with QuickBooks. You mentioned Xero 2, lots of other ERP systems and CRM systems and all the rest. So, but we have one with QuickBooks, which is obviously what brought me down your channel. It's, you know, there's no magic pill to this, but I'm going to show you how our software smartly allows you to improve cash flow by at least, now this is based on our customer experiences we've owned between Holland and Belgium, and now in Ireland and the UK with about 2,000 customers. But we can improve cash flow between 30 and 50%. And also we can reduce debtor activities, labor activities by at least 80%. And I'll back that up now by showing you just, you know, how smart the software is. You can see my screen here, and you can see the dashboard organization.
Yep, that's it.
And I've a number of different administrations that I'm going to be jumping in and out of. This is a demo account, like you guys have the US account for QuickBooks. I've got a number of demo accounts here, but because a demo account is live, because it's integrated with our own software, it does live things. So I have a number of different administrations that will allow me to demonstrate different bits and pieces. First thing, I just bring you into the dashboard of one administration, which I call Mono Garden Furniture. Okay. Now, I don't know how long I have, but I could talk for 4 hours. I don't think I have 4 hours, do I? No. So I'm going to whittle it down. As I said in the introduction, I have been involved in many businesses, and in all of the businesses I've been organized in, I've never been the accountant like you guys, but I've always been responsible for the money. And Tom Cruise would say, "Show me the money." So it's always been, you know, in the back of my mind, in the back of my responsibility. Even though I'm a salesperson by profession, I've always been looking after the money. Now, I love Excel. I've been using Excel for years, and I thought all these things, you know, I was the God's gift to the Excel world, and how, you know, I could get everything streamlined and automated. I could never fully, and I'm sure you'll all laugh, you laugh, I used to, you know, when you're using Excel at a particularly cool level, and you come across a mistake that you go, gee, that's so fundamental. And you go, oh, how could I have done that, right? Well, because we're human, and when you're messing with Excel and stuff, the opportunity to screw things up, there's so many, and all the rest. And I found with debtor management, I thought I had a really good system together, you know, where I would, you know, get the girls in the office or the guys in the office to ring and chase and all that kind of stuff. But I did have the principles, but it's only since I got involved with Pate and I saw this dashboard that I understood actually how it can be done from an automated point of view, right? Using the best of you know, software that's out there. So to give you, so the dashboard for me, I'm going to just go to another dashboard to give you a little bit more, because there's only 2 invoices on that one. Give you this one here, which is 71 invoices. It's one of the Dutch demos, right? So the dashboard is split into 2. And the dashboard gives anybody within the debtor management team, whether it's the credit controller or the managing director, it gives you a full 360 view of where you're at. And here's what I like about it. It's split on the left-hand side, you have the metrics. How many invoices have to be sent? How many have been sent and the value? How many are in first reminder or second reminder? How many are in final reminder? How many are ready for debt collection? How many are in debt collection? And how many outstanding cases you have? This is all automated. So from the moment we bring an invoice into our system, which I'm going to just show you, because I created an invoice in Xero just a minute ago, okay? And I'm going to just do an override on the import. This normally happens automatically, okay? So yep. Now I will let this. I'll go back out to my other my Mono Garden, because I think I did it in Xero, which is in here. And you see the way the invoice hasn't come in yet. Now, when I do the imports, I just wake it up. I'm sure I brought one. Obviously, no, I didn't. I was messing. I was listening to you so hard there. I forgot to actually put a value into it. But here's 2 I did beforehand. So as soon as we do the import, the invoices come into the system. Okay, and the dashboard picks up these two invoices are in the system. So I'll go back out to my Dutch one again, just because there's more in that. Right. So what I like about the dashboard is it gives you a full understanding of how many invoices you have, where they're at, and the value. But the other really good thing, and I'm going to demonstrate it shortly as well, on the right-hand side of the dashboard is all of that messy stuff that you have with clients sending emails, or missing a payment, or you've arranged a payment plan with them, that kind of thing, right? But this on the right-hand side is all, let's call it a subjective narrative, right? So it's the messy stuff. It's the stuff where you wake up in the middle of the night screaming a client's name because they said they were going to do something, and you suddenly remembered that check for 1,000 or 20,000 hasn't arrived in. This is where all of this is caught. Okay, so I'll go back now just to the slimmed down version, and I'll show you. Right, so we bring an invoice in through an import, okay, and this all happens automatically. The invoice ends up in the client's email account, just like this. Right, there's one I brought in at 1,500 hours, which is just before we came on. Okay, and they get it in the same way that you would normally get any invoice. I just move this across here. So the invoice goes into their inbox, okay, and they get a PDF, and this is all set up with your own branded details and all that kind of stuff as it normally would, and they get an option how to pay, and they get a full summary of the invoice. But the first USP being our dashboard, on the left being the metrics of the invoice value and where they are in the flow, on the right being all the narrative. I think the second biggest USP we have with our software is we have a customer portal. Okay, so while a client gets their email in their inbox, they can go directly to their customer portal, and in here they get a live statement of exactly where they are with all invoices owing to your company. And why is it taking so long? Bandwidth is
StreamYard.
This is live, yeah.
Blame StreamYard. It's fine.
Yeah. I think you're going to do. It's up now, yeah, I think it is. Try it again. No, it's still loading. I don't know why that's not loading at the moment. Sorry, gentlemen. I have
it's
bandwidth problem.
Sometimes when with the StreamYard, it can actually eat into a lot of the data, I think, sometimes. So
there it is.
Is that it?
Okay, well there it is. It's come up. Yeah, we've come up to the okay. So from your inbox, you can as a client, you can pop in and see the invoice that we're talking about, that single invoice, or you can go to all your invoices. Now let's hope we can go. All invoices have been paid, so we go back here. So we only have one invoice outstanding, and this is what I think is really good about our system in terms of communication. One of the big problems you have with a lot of backing and forth with clients is trying to actually draw a string together all communication on an invoice, whatever, in emails and all the rest, right? With the customer portal, a client can actually send you a message and go, hi, this is incorrect. Okay, and they can send that via the customer portal. I was waiting, bandwidth is not good. There. Right, I'll go in. Anyway, you get the general gist. You send it. Yep. And what happens in here is on your dashboard, back to the right-hand side of our dashboard. Okay, you can see that you have an invoice with an unread message. Yeah, you can pop in here, and if you're actually monitoring all of these, you will see there it is. Right, invoice 134. And it's hi, this is incorrect. And you can see that you start building up a dossier of an understanding, with what I said twice there, with a client has sent you through. This remains on your dashboard until such time as you actually action it, or somebody in your team actions it. So you should never miss a communication with the client. Now, bearing in mind, we have some clients who have 5,000 invoices. If you have 5,000 invoices going through, and you've got 40 people sending you an email, an unread message, you want to be able to monitor that and see where, is there going to be any reason why they're not going to pay you, and action that straight away. Now, the other thing is, say a client does say this is incorrect. Another USP of the system is that it could be our fault, right? So we actually can go back and send a message to the client, and that remains here. Or what we can do is we can actually pause the invoice in question if we want. We can actually pause everything, on this invoice. We can pause all reminders until it is 100% sorted out, and away you go. Back out here, so all of this here will be collected in your unread messages. And so if I go back into that invoice in here and pop it up here and read this message and mark it as read, and go back out to my, whoever comes in is monitoring this, it'll have gone to 1. You see the way it's gone to 1 there now. And across a lot of invoices, this is very good. The other thing the system offers you in terms of flexibility and smart flexibility is if you have, we're in COVID-19, and we're going to have a lot of people are going to have a lot of pain at the moment, and for lots of reasons, cash is going to be tight. We can, instead of actually debt collecting and going after somebody, you can actually through the system schedule a payment plan against any invoice that you want. Okay, so this client here owes 2 invoices, 1,186 and 1,079. We'll decide we're going to do a payment plan for the 2 invoices, okay? We come along, we say, right, what are we doing? We're going to do a monthly payment. We're going to agree a monthly payment with them of, say, 5 terms, okay? And the first payment day, they tell you, is they normally get a check-in or whatever it is on the 17th of each month, okay? So we generate a payment plan for them, and there's the payment plan, which is, generated with them, by us for them, telling them that your 5 equal payments are going to be from here until February. We view the summary and we create the payment plan, and the payment plan is created, and all reminders stop against those invoices, and the payment plan kicks in around that. And if the client does their thing and pays as per the plan, all will be good. If they don't, we will see that we will get a note here that a client has missed a payment under payment plan. They get a summary of that. It should have gone into my inbox here. There's the agreement has gone into the inbox of the client, which is here we've agreed for those 2 invoices, and here's the payment plan, and so on and so forth. That's also caught in the customer portal as well. So everything is 100% captured in the page environment and in the customer portal as well. So there can be no dispute at any stage as to what was agreed or not agreed. It gives.
Yeah, I was trying to say that I think that's really nice to have, especially have all of that data held in one place, because the problem with going in and out of emails, especially if you're on a small, medium, well, even a small company, where it can be at one time the director might send an email out chasing for some money because he's forgotten that maybe the bookkeeper or the credit controller has actually sent it out and been chasing up money, whereas they're all accessing the one portal where all the data shared in one place, so they can see straight away, oh, I can see that person has responded or set up a payment plan, because it's all in there in one. That's very nice, very tidy.
Yeah, well, thank you, Ash. And that's just it. Like with what we do in Paid Software, because we're all entrepreneurs and understand exactly what you understand about having a totality of understanding between a team, we have one license, and you can have as many users as you like. Because for us, the more users that you have, the actual better you're going to improve your cash flow. So to go back to my bold statement about improving cash flow by 30 to 50%. But you can imagine, right, if you have somebody who receives an automated reminder or the second reminder, and it pops down here into the reminders, just to show you how it pops into the dashboard. Which one here? This is an example company. So here are invoices that are in reminders, and you can see how many reminders are being sent. So this one here is, these are all in bundled reminders. A final reminder, for instance, on this one here is going to go out on whatever date is say within that. But if everybody is monitoring the dashboard and everybody is allowing the automation to do what it's supposed to do, exactly what you say there is that nobody is going to trip over anybody else. And the client is going to be better served because they're going to get the same message from everybody. and everybody will be on song, because if you go back into what we did there with the model garden and that invoice, the 134, and if we go into that, we can see there's a lot of action. Even if I went whichever one of them, it doesn't really matter. All of everything that has happened, there's the payment plan that we added, right, will be caught there. You can actually add a note for your team in here as well, okay? You can CC as many people as you want on it. You can remind as many people as you want on it, it's like what you were showing there with all the webhooks and everything through QuickBooks. All of these things make it so easy to organize yourself, and therefore improve your cash flow and reduce your activities, because two people aren't doing the same job. Everybody knows that it's one point of place, and the customer has one point of place as well, and that's really where the action's at. As I said, with our software, what it does is automation, but it is fused with intelligence. Because if you do have a problem with an invoice, I mean, the company itself isn't always right. You can, pause an invoice, or pause the debtor if it was really bad, and therefore the debtor isn't going to be annoyed and all the rest. Do you see this download dossier? If it does go completely nuts, right, and the customer just isn't going to pay, you can download for your legal team the dossier of everything that's happened. So nobody really has a leg to stand on and say, well, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. If you give the customer and can prove you've given the customer every opportunity to pay the monies that were due, give them a payment plan, and they haven't kept it what their end of the bargain, you can download the dossier and there is no dispute. It's a black and white case. But we're not in the business, as I said, about debt collecting. We're about facilitating getting this paid as close to the invoice due date as you possibly can. And to do that, you do have to have a full understanding of what's involved. Send the invoice out in a timely measure. Send out the reminders. And if you're monitoring your dashboard, and you see, I mean, if I was as a managing director of any company, I'm not interested in what was sent. I'm not interested in what is, to be sent. The reminders, it's the final reminders where I'm spending my time. So I'd be looking at that. Even the sales team who would have access to this. You go into, for example, company, for instance, right? You say, right, who's in final reminder? Okay, and you pop into the invoices, and there you see your debtor, GPD Limited. Okay, you say, God, they're one of my clients, right? What's going on with that? We can have a webhook on this as well that allows you, if you have credit limit, if you can't stop or have a particular credit limit through QuickBooks or Xero or whatever, we can actually bring that up in the dashboard as well. But as you can see, if everybody's involved, then there's no tripping over anybody, and it's all fully transparent. Yeah.
That looks great. Alistair, just have one little thought there. When you sort of said about adding, as many users as you'd like. So let's say you're adding a sales, one of the sales guys or ladies. If you add them on, do they immediately see everything, or could you sort of say, well, actually, I only want that salesperson to see customer ABC?
You can restrict it, on implementation, we would set it up that you can restrict access to whatever that you want. I mean, so I just go into the administration settings. You can onboard yourself, but if you just look at our, this is the settings in the background. We do have an implementation team. And what they do is you see all of this stuff here, they will pop in, on the import, they will help on the import to set up exactly what you're talking about there, right? Ignoring debtors, invoices, payment conditions, all of that kind of stuff is done in the back end of things. But yes, we can, with your users, restrict rights and all the rest. But to have whoever needs to know what they need to know, to have what they need to know.
Yeah,
cool. And when you say integration with QuickBooks and Xero, what sort of information are you bringing in then? Is it a copy of the invoice? Is it, I think it's the customer as well, but is it the payments as well? Are they coming in? How does that integration work?
And the payments are coming in as well. And we also, so we're bringing in your PDF. With the API integration, we're bringing your PDF, we're bringing all of your open invoice information, and any payments that are reconciled as well. That's the good thing about the import. Now, hopefully I'll be able to show you here. On an import, the import each day, we don't have any payments because this is a demo account, but you can see on the import, you can actually see how many debtors were added, new debtors were added, how many invoices were added, and how many payments were added. So if I was a managing director of a company not involved in the day-to-day credit management, I would be looking, the first thing I'd look each morning is I would look at the import report and see were there any errors or not, okay? You don't necessarily have to go to the import report. You can actually go down here, and if there are errors, it will actually come up here, the last import is succeeded, or it will be, it's got warnings, or it will be, it's got errors. The last thing you want are errors. But when you come into the import report, you can actually see the activities that are happening on a day-to-day basis. So here we added one debtor, we added one invoice, and if we have payments, they would come up here as well. You can mine into that, and you can actually see what invoices were created, what debtor was created. So you're getting we're reflecting exactly what's happening in QuickBooks, in your accountancy package, if you will. We're not messing with the figures at all. What we're doing is we're simply bringing in what you have, and then we're marshalling it against our software, which is going to understand exactly this where it's the payment due flow, if you will.
I like it. I like it a lot. And you mentioned online payment. So is that using one of the big ones, or is it your own platform? How does that work?
No, we integrate with Stripe. Is the main one that we use. So it's whatever we'll integrate. We set that up on import. We ask you, in Holland they have a load of direct debit ones and all that kind of jazz. So it's whatever you have, but the big one that we use is Stripe. So you're fully integrated.
Do you use GoCardless by any chance?
We don't. It's not a problem to set up, but Stripe, it just from the point of view of the commissions and all the rest. I mean, we make nothing of that's nothing. We just facilitate it, and we charge a monthly maintenance of the API connection, but that's about it. So when we're setting that up here on the payments, and they might have it set up here. So this. So here it's integrated with Stripe. So it's whatever it's whatever you're currently using is what we will do, and that will be obviously be reconciling within QuickBooks as well, and we'll bring in the data. So it's the whole thing is all fully integrated.
Cool.
Yeah,
and no double jobbing.
Yeah, no, that was just the question I was going to ask. If you had got that Stripe integration, and then someone. Your customer clicks on the button to say, yes, I'm going to pay my invoice by card. Stripe takes the money. So Payt will sort of record that customer receipt. Does that then fire that customer receipt back to QuickBooks to say that invoice is then paid?
And that's, yes. So let's look at here now. And this is the invoice for this particular one. It should have a pay online payment. As soon as it's paid here, it will double back and be reconciled to QuickBooks, and then it will be picked up on our report the following day. So everything is fully rounded, if you will. And I'm just opening it up here. So no, there's none on this one. This is the Dutch one, but you can pay directly from the invoice just like you would from QuickBooks as well.
Cool.
That's awesome, isn't it? I really like that. I mean, we ourselves, we've had many issues with debt management in terms of just time. It's just that time, isn't it? Having to put time together each and every month, week, whatever you want to do it, and just having to keep on top of it. And even you mentioned there about payment plans. We have a conversation if it does go that far, and it's having to have multiple people to keep talking in Teams or talking in HubSpot or wherever we're talking, and it's just having that one space where you can have all that conversation in one. It's all in there, like you said, you can create that case thing. I think that's really powerful. So, I mean, that's to me, that's the selling point right there.
Yeah, well, thanks, Aaron.
Yeah, that splitting into the payment plans is great, because you can't do that in a bookkeeping package without actually manually splitting your invoice into 6 different invoices. So it's sort of doing that, taking that and doing that for you. Excellent.
Yeah, so no, it's I mean, I'm obviously have a vested interest in being enthusiastic, but you can't sell things that you're not enthusiastic about. And because I have been myself shaped by, my own Excel experiences and dealing with clients down through the years, I mean, I say, hate aside, this is the best thing I've ever seen for collecting money, because when I do a webinar, I talk about why is it we have certain clients who are a pain in the head, right, and really give you such grief. And the reason being is that we suffer from what's called procrastination. Now, procrastination is not necessarily being lazy. Procrastination is you have something else that is more important to do than on the day of ringing a client who owes you €5,000, right? And that's procrastination. And what happens is, if you're a small, if you're running a medium business and you're involved in lots of different things, the last thing you want to do is ruin your day by ringing a guy, who owes you money. You're going to actually probably bet on the fact that he's a good guy and he's going to pay you. And normally that doesn't work out. And what happens is you have a big bundle of mess at the end of the month. The good thing about automation is automation doesn't care whether you wake up in a good mood or a bad mood, right? It sends the reminder straight away. And as a knowing that I'm not a boot boy, but when I get to find a reminder, whether it's using Pate or using, in my other jobs, when somebody owes you money and they're not paying you, right? Then you can take out the baseball bat and go after them and just say, listen, pay me my bloody money, right? Because the relationship is pretty over. But the good thing about this is the actual relationship isn't over, because like what you're saying about the payment plan, you have to have empathy. If you have empathy and you have customer service and you can back that up by being very organized, you can say to Goose Limit here, right? These are all made up things. Look, I've been here myself before. You do owe me the €865. What's the gig? I'm sorry, I can't pay. Okay, let's schedule you a payment plan. What works for you? Could I pay €10 a week for the next 8? Well, yes, you can. Getting your money is better than going to court for it, because nobody's going to win in that situation, right? So at least you have this soft baseball, or at least you have empathy, and you give this guy a chance or a girl a chance. And if they screw it up, right, it comes back up on your dashboard, and it'll come down, where's it go? Expired payment plan. Do you see it here, this one here?
Yeah.
If somebody doesn't do what they said they were going to do, it will come up here. So you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to wake up in the middle of the night and say, to your wife, I wonder, is that guy going to come good that I've split that €865 with over the next 10 months, right? He may come good for 5 of them, right? And suddenly he doesn't come good for 1, but you're straight on it. If you're monitoring the dashboard, you're straight on it. You can task it for one of your team, add it to a team, do whatever you want to do, right? But that guy will be wrong within 24 hours if you do it correctly. And this is what I'm saying is, good, smart debtor management is automation fused with intelligent control. And it's not about this dashboard could go into a box of frogs or a bowl of frogs as well. If you're not monitoring it, you must be procedural. You must monitor these things. But if you do it right and you wake up every morning and you look at your dashboard, then all will be cool in the world. I mean, I'm very much about, a time for everything and everything in its time. To prove it, most people think I suffer from a little bit of OCD, which I don't, right? But I have proved that you can actually do the same thing at the same time every morning, right, for the rest of your life without it being a big deal. This morning, for instance, I'm on day 1317 of Duolingo. Right? I don't know if you know Duolingo. It's a language learning app. It's free, okay? And you do 5 or 10 minutes every morning, right? And when it came out about 4 years ago, I was out a lot longer. One of the biggest nerds in the world is on day 3,200 and something, which is about 8 years, right? But you laugh, right? But the thing about it is that if you get into a rhythm and a rhythm of that this is important and it must be done for 5 minutes each day, it's not a problem. And anybody who's ever worked for me who says, you're mad, I say, well, hang on a sec. You got up this morning, didn't you? Yes. Did you brush your teeth? Well, yes. Have you always brushed your teeth in the morning? More or less you have, right? So all you're doing is just adding one more little thing like Duolingo or whatever. But for me, looking at this dashboard should be the first thing you do when you open up shop in the morning. who owes me money, who is ready for final reminder, and concentrate your time there, and let the rest, the automation, do the rest. Do the rest in the background. So as you can tell, I'm over enthusiastic about this, but that's a good.
Oh, it's great. It's great. So, Alistair, so where do we go to find out more? So, what's the website address, and give us all that stuff.
Okay, so it's paidsoftware.com. That is the website address. We do offer any accountancy package or ERP package that we have an API integration for. There is a 1 month for free. But to be honest with you, if most people who stumble across us like this, be it a webinar, or where I do a one-to-one, normally when they see it and they understand the principles, what I've expressed, right, they're kind of ready, and they're saying, right, hook me up with the implementation team. I'm sick of waking up in the middle of the night in sweats, screaming customers' names. It's not doing anything for my marriage, So, but paidsoftware.com, it's info@paidsoftware.com, or Alistair or a.wallace@paidsoftware.com. But yeah, you'll find us there, and we're more than happy to do a one-to-one demo and go through. There's a lot more features to this that I haven't really covered, but I think what I've done is I've covered the main ones. It's almost like a live reporting system as well. It's like in the customer portal, it's a live statement for the customers. Like, there's so many things to this here that cuts out reports or building reports and all that kind of jazz. It's you can just direct your customer to the customer portal and say, there's your statement, and that's how ugly it looks. And there is all of the communication that we've had, and there are all the notes from my team members, and you still haven't paid us. I'm coming around.
Cool. And so for anyone that's listening through a podcast, that Payt is spelt Payt software.com,
Yes.
all one word.
Yeah, paidsoftware.com.
Excellent. Okay, Aaron, I think so. Thanks, Alistair, for joining. So I think I don't know if we've got any questions specifically for your software at the moment, but if anyone has, then please drop them through. I think we've got one or two just general usual QuickBooks queries or tax related queries. I think might be one or two in there, Aaron, you might want to fire through or have a look at.
Yeah, so like Ash just said, if you do have any questions, do make sure you ask in the question panel or in the box that we've got, and especially if you've got anything about the paid software, because I think there's some really good parts in there, and have a look and see if it's something that'll be useful for you. So some of the questions that we've had through, I mean, a couple of statements more than questions, but we'll just deal with them anyway. And I definitely think this one here by Leanne, because I think this is brilliant. So just to give some context, Leanne's talking about how explaining to one of the other people in the chat about how to get most use out of QuickBooks. But she mentions rules and how rules is so useful to be able to get everything set up and get everything all nice and neat and tidy. And it's so true, isn't it, Ash? I mean, once you've got your head around rules, it's one of those where it clicks, doesn't it? And when it does click, you can see how powerful it can be.
Oh, definitely. And just seeing that comment there about, if you're receiving sort of Shopify types transactions, or even if you've got 2 or 3 bank accounts and you're just transferring one from between a couple, setting up a rule so it recognizes account details just saves a massive amount of time.
Yeah, it's huge, isn't it? But I'll always remember when I first kind of got to grips with rules and started thinking about it, and then thinking about all the different scenario. And you can get to a point, and we find this with a lot of kind of clients and a lot of setups, where 90% of your transactions that hit that bank account are just dealt with by rules. So you're getting rid of all that noise, you're getting rid of all that simpler transactions. And that means when you come to review what you've got left in your bank, then literally all you've got left are those complex ones that you do need to spend the time in. So it is worthwhile just getting your head around how rules work, getting your head around what benefits you've got, and you'll find you've got some really easy way of being able to keep on top of your books that way, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant. And then we do actually have one question as well. So Kirsty asks, hi guys, wondered if we need to do anything in QuickBooks regarding government help received due to COVID, especially in regards to account and self-assessment. Ash, do you want to have a go on this one?
Well, I guess I suppose it's a yes or no answer. I mean, nothing overly complicate it with regards to what you might have received for self-assessment. So if you're a sole trader and you might have received one of those grants, the self-employment support scheme grants, then you will just need to record that as income and just make sure that you've set up maybe a separate category. So you might create another income category and just call it grant received or something similar. I think Aaron's got a couple of YouTube videos on this as well. So check out Aaron's YouTube channel. The QuickBooks chap, I think it's something. Am I right, Aaron? Something like that. There's something there on that. If you're a limited company, if you received a grant in for maybe the job retention, again, you should really have a separate account category for that. So, but nothing within your settings that you need to worry about. No. So just where you record it within your accounts, really.
Yeah, definitely get those grants in there as something separate, like Ash said. And then the only one to keep an eye out is the bounce back loan. If you've had any involvement in the bounce back loan, just deal with it like any other loan. So personally, I'd create it as almost like a second bank account. Some of them bounce back loans now, because they're connected to your main banking screen, you might even be able to import it as a bank account itself, so you can actually have the repayments and interest and all that start feeding into QuickBooks. Just depends on who you bank with. So yeah, do have a look at it, and if you have got any of the COVID items come through, then you're either going to be putting it as a grant, like Ash said, or we're going to treat it as a loan. And it's really as straightforward as that. But when Ash said keep it separate, please do, because that's the bit where, as accountants or bookkeepers, we'll be looking for it at year end, and we're making sure it goes to the right place for your tax returns.
Excellent. Okay. Anything else?
I don't think that is. I think that is. But Alison, I really thank you for the time. I've really enjoyed looking at paid software. It's definitely started thinking about our situation and how we might be able to implement it and find some use out of it. So I really thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Actually, one thing, actually, just while we've got 2 minutes before we do say goodbye, because one thing I didn't ask Alistair, is there a sort of a different account for accountants as opposed to, so is there like an accountant channel versus a small business channel?
Well, we have a partner program. That's the one difference between, just a single user and an accountancy firm. Obviously, we're trying to strike up relationships with the likes of accountants like yourselves, because you have your own clients, and we then have a partner program that supports you, supporting your clients, if you will. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And they can all find all about that on your website. Excellent.
Indeed.
I like it because that could give them a help for other accountants to offer not debt management, but debt chasing solutions as well, couldn't it? So that's quite a nice way they can kind of offset that and create a new little channel for them. So awesome.
And more importantly, an income stream. The thing about it is that there's an income stream, and it's a passive income stream, because we do all the supporting and all the rest. What we want are the introductions. And I normally say to people, introduce paid software to your most difficult client, the most cash-starved client that you have, who's the most disorganized, right? And I guarantee you will, it'll be unbelievable to turn around.
Definitely. It's been brilliant. I've really enjoyed looking at that software. So Ash, I think that's pretty much it, isn't it? With unless there's any more questions that come through, I don't think there has been. So have we settled? I think I'm putting you on the spot here. Have we settled for the one next time?
Yeah, so I think our next show, it's the same time, Tuesday, 13th of October, 4 p.m. Just waiting to confirm if we've got a guest on with us or not. We'll find out in a few days' time. So thank you again, Alistair, for joining us, and that's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye for me. And I'm stalling at the moment while I try and do the outro. So cheers, everyone. Bye now.
Bye.
Cheers.